Hello everyone, today I'm going to do a video about my tips when you book your trip to Disneyland Paris. But if you want to go to Paris, I'm going to give you my tips and tricks for booking. First of all, you want to book it from the official Disney site if you can. For me it always has been the cheapest option. Because if you book through another company, they have to charge you, well, they have to pay Disney, but they also have to charge you for their work that they do for you, if that makes sense. So you will pay more, but if you find it easier, it's fine. But if you can do it online on the Disney site, it will always be the cheapest option normally. Of course, it's never going to be cheap because it's Disney, but you know what I mean, it's going to be normally the cheapest option you can book. I would always say look out for promotions. They do promotions all the time. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not that good, and you better wait for it. I would personally not book anything without 50% off or up from that price. Most of the time I'll wait for 20 or 25% off. The lowest I go is a 15% off, and most of the time you get something on top of that, or I still won't book my trip. This goes for the cheapest hotels. Most of the time when you get 15 off from the cheapest or the most budget hotels, you get more off when you book a more expensive hotel. So it depends on what you want, but I would say wait for a good promotion. If you plan to eat a lot in the park, I would definitely say get a meal plan. The meal plans in Paris is like a hotel meal plan or even standard. If you want to eat like more into the park, table service or buffets into the park, you best go for the plus option. And if you want to go all out and go all fancy, and for the more expensive options, you best get like the extra or something one. If you want to like proper enjoy the eating at Disneyland, then get a meal plan. But if you decide to go more into the village or McDonald's or something a few times for eating, then I would not recommend the plan. Then just go for it and pay as you go, because the plan wouldn't be worth it for you then. What you also can do, and I really recommend it, I never do it without, is to take the evening dinners at your hotel room. I know they're going to change it and breakfast isn't going to be in the price of your hotel anymore, so you will have to pay for it very soon. But you didn't used to, so I always used to pay for my evenings at my hotel. It's just very easy thing. If you don't want to eat at the parks or you find that too expensive, you just eat at the park at noon in a quick service or something, or in the village for like less money, and then you pay in front for your hotel food, so it's like less expensive when you have to buy it when you're there, and so it's like booked and you're sure you can get in, and it's not going to be like fully booked when you come there, especially when it's like on a high peak of the season. So I would recommend that if you don't want to eat in the parks but in the hotels, book it for the evenings. For noon I wouldn't do it, because then you have to miss time from the park to go to your hotel and stuff, so I would keep it by the evening. But it's of course up to you what you want or what you do. If there's things you want to do, this is including options you can take, like a photo pass or a show that you have to pay for, or like those special restaurants where you can meet the characters, like Cafe Mickey, the thing with the princesses. It's a very, very hard French name, I'm not going to pronounce it, but where you can eat with the princesses. Inventions at the Disneyland Hotel, also character buffet. If you want to do those character dinings or these character breakfasts or whatever character related or very popular restaurant, please book this in advance. Normally you can do it directly on the Disney site, some you won't be able to. You have to call them for it before you come, and I would just recommend to do it, because if you're coming there, you're going to the town hall, they will try to do their best to get you someplace at somewhere where characters are coming, but especially in high peaks you're probably not going to get anything. So just please keep that in mind. If you want to do some things, see that it's booked and that you have it before you go. I would always recommend to stay on the Disney property. I wouldn't go to a hotel that is not advised by Disney itself or that is far off property. I would always stay on Disney property personally. But Disney also has like partner hotels that are for sure gonna be Disney quality, and they're gonna make, and if you have any problems they will fix it for you, because they have to kind of work in the, you know, in the Disney atmosphere. I mean, they have to make your stay as good as possible. So normally if you book a Disney hotel or one of the recommended ones, you should be absolutely fine. I just wanted to pay a bit more and to stay into the Disney theme and the Disney park because I don't feel like I'm getting out of the magic. I would just always recommend to stay on Disney property itself. The cheaper ones are good as well. I've stayed at them most of the time when I go for not a long time. They are perfectly fine and they're worth the money. If it's possible, please go by train or metro to the park, because if you're coming from the airport and you have to go to the Disneyland park with a taxi, it's quite far away from Charles de Gaulle, so you're gonna pay a lot of money for nothing. It's not needed. Just see what you're doing. Just Charles de Gaulle has a metro station, there's a train station. The train to Disneyland stops there all the time, so there should be something. So check it out when your flight lands, when you have like a connection to Marie-la-Vallée, the station that actually makes you arrive straight into Disneyland. So I would recommend that for sure, and it's just so much better and so much easier than hiring a car, hiring a taxi, or having some transportation. I would definitely say train or metro is the best way to get there. And if you have to take a plane from where you come, then I would take a plane and then see for train or metro to get into Disneyland itself. It's just going to be the cheapest and the most convenient option. If you live somewhere where you can take the train to Disney, do that. It's just amazing. It's the best option ever to do. But book in advance, because the trains as flights will get more expensive if you wait too long. So the best thing you can do is book as fast as you can in advance to make this as cheap as possible. I would personally recommend that if you are with a family, you don't want any stress or anything to worry about. If something is going wrong, or something happens that the train doesn't drive, or something else, or your flight or whatever, if you book through Disneyland, your transport is always going to be okay. We've ever been there that something happened on the Belgian train network. We couldn't leave. Trains weren't going there. Trains weren't going to where we needed to go. So there were no trains. We couldn't get out of there. I think we stayed a day longer first of all. They made us stay a day longer. And then we got a train first to Lille, was also in France, and then we got a train into Belgium. It was a whole thing because the train wouldn't go farther than I don't know where because of the whole thing, and everything was like crazy in Belgium at that time because the train network was just down because of an accident that happened. We didn't really have anything to deal with except for making a phone call, because like of course that happened and we wanted to know what they could do for us. So of course you have phone calls, but they will fix everything for you and you will have nothing to pay extra. They will just fix it. So if you don't want to worry about anything, it is worth to do that, but remember that you will pay quite a lot for your transport if you book through Disney. It's not going to be the cheapest option or the best deal you will get. It's not at all, but you will be sure that everything is going to be alright and everything will be taken care of. What I do personally, because I'm younger, I'm not going with kids, is I book my train through the site. So if I'm taking a TGV or a Thalys, I'm going to that website and book it there. I book it as soon as possible because then the tickets are cheaper. I also always get a non-flex or a semi-flex one. What means you save on the ticket price, but of course if something happens you will have to pay a new ticket if you have a non-flex. Semi-flexes were a bit different, you have a bit more help then. But it just depends, but sometimes it's just worth to get the non-flex, especially if you're young, because even if something happens it will sometimes be cheaper to get a non-flex at that station to get a train than when you had paid for like the most expensive option of the Disney option that they give you. So it just depends of what you want. But if you are a bit of an adventurer and you're young and you don't have kids with you or something and you're not easy to stress out when you take like transportations, I would just not book it through Disney. Just book your hotel through Disney and then do the rest from the train side itself, because it will be cheaper, especially if you're a student and under 25. Also very important when you take a train on a flight, most of the time it's the hours when you're going to be leaving or going to go back. Best thing to make the most of your Disney stay is to take the earliest train. It's most of the time earliest flight as well, of course. I don't know how it is with flights, but a lot of the time the earliest ones are cheaper than the next ones where they're like in very wanted hours, because the first ones can be very, very early. But I rather like get up early and go to bed not too late the first day and then watch the show the second day or something like that, then that I have to pay 20 or 30 euros more to go a bit later. I rather to go to the I rather to take the very first train and pay less and get the last train that goes back home. But of course with kids you have to consider of course the hours, because it's not always gonna be that easy. But if you're young, of course you can do whatever you want, and I would just take the earliest one and the latest one. It's gonna cost you less money. Then I would highly recommend to take the Disney Express option, especially if you are with family or with kids. For kids it's free if you pay for yourself. For an adult it's under the 20 euros and it will take care of your luggage. So you will be arriving in the station, you bring your luggage to the Disney Express. They will bring it to your hotel so you can go straight into the park, you have to worry about nothing. And the same they will do on the day they do it back. You just have your suitcases left at your hotel and they will bring it back to the train station where you can pick them up again. So you don't have to waste time going to the hotels to pick up your luggage and everything. It will all be ready for you there. So I highly recommend it because the price is not like stupidly expensive at all. It's so worth it and it makes you have so much less stress. So I would recommend it. So these were all my recommendations to book your Disneyland Paris trip. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any more questions or think, oh, you didn't cover that into your video, leave it in the comments down below and I will try to answer you. And if I think, oh my god, that's a good question, I might make a video about it, who knows. Feel free to subscribe on my channel because it's free and I would love to see you in my next video. Bye!